Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Linda's New Plants for You. This is Linda. Hi, everyone. I want to talk today about the zebra plant, and I'm going to move it over to my table here shortly, but I wanted to have it in this light so you could really get a good look at it before I do that. And we're going to talk about this in a moment, so stay with me. And I'm back. Okay, this plant, my husband actually chose, I should say. We were at Milliger's. I talk about them quite a bit, and it was just teeny tiny. It was about 4 inches tall, and it just caught his eye, and I've come to realize that he really loves variegation, especially the stark white against the green. So anytime he sees something like that, he's drawn to it, and usually we end up putting it in the cart. The problem is, I'm the one that has to take care of it. Haha. So I do tease him quite a bit about this little diva, and he just giggles, and I guess we get a good laugh about it. But and you'll have to excuse me for having my coffee here today, but I'm having a few issues with the air quality. And if I start coughing, I will take a sip of my coffee and try and spare you of that. Okay? This plant grows in North America, South America, and Central America. And the botanical name for it is Aphelandra squarrosa. That's quite a mouthful. And I will put that up on the screen for those of you that want to go delve further into this. But it's called the zebra plant. So let's just refer to it that way because that's a lot easier for me to say. And the thing that I want to talk about is her care, or lack of it. I have her sitting on it's a stone bird bath, and it's about 1.5 feet tall, and it's meant to be a bird bath, maybe out on the porch or something, but I actually used it to put this on top of it. And she did very well until she got closer to the light, and as you can see, their top leaves are rather pale looking, and that's because it's too close to the light. Now, the reason this plant is such a diva is because she likes very, very bright filtered light. Now, the best way I can explain that is put her in a south window that gets complete full sunshine all day, but have maybe a sheer curtain in between. That would be one way to do it. And again, depending on where you are in the country or out of the country, be careful because not everybody's south exposure is equal. So you'll have to kind of play around with that and pay attention to your plant. Now you'll notice that there's some browning on these leaves. I do believe this was from lack of water. It also could have been because I used faucet water instead of distilled. I usually use distilled on her just because she's so fussy. But I think I accidentally used regular faucet water on her one day. And that could also be because this is what will happen to my calatheas when I use our faucet water. Now, I know, I want to say, Rooting Mindfully, she's got an awesome channel, and I love her videos. And she has got the most beautiful plants. They're just gorgeous. And they're huge, and they're healthy. And she has a calathea collection. This is a little off topic, but I just didn't want to forget to tell you. And she, not only does she grow them so far in terracotta pots, but she also uses tap water. And so far so good, and I believe it's been at least a few months, if not longer. So, like I said, everybody is different. The only way I can get my calatheas to stay alive and flourish is to use the distilled water. And it's just because I think our water is so bad. I don't think it's just from the salt in the water. I think it's our water. So, in fact, we don't drink our water anymore. We use, we get bottled water because it's, well, we're not sure what's in our water. And one of the problems with, I've had people say, why don't you have it tested? Well, we did have it tested many, many years ago. And nowadays, if you have your water tested, you have to send that specimen into Madison, Wisconsin. And they have the right to come and shut down your well if they think it's bad. Well, we don't want to be without water, and we don't want our well shut down. So we just live with whatever is going on, and we buy our bottled water for drinking and cooking and coffee, and we're okay with it. So anyways, enough about the water. The main thing that this plant likes, again, and she also likes humidity. In fact, you'll find her a lot on the forest floor because they like to be surrounded by humidity. How that works with the bright light, I have no idea. But in my research, I remember reading that a while ago. So you can do your own research and see what you can come up with. But that's what I found. This little stub here came from, I cut this back. I wanted to make it fuller. So I took a cutting, and that cutting died. I'm tempted to take a cutting again, but because she's so pretty on top, I'm really leery about doing that. But these plants do automatically get leggy. They do automatically lose their lower leaves after a while. So regardless of what you do, you're going to get a tall plant with not much going on at the bottom. If somebody out there has had luck contrary to what I'm saying, please, by all means, put it in the comments section. So anyways, she ended up shooting out. When I took that cutting from the mother plant, she ended up putting out a new shoot, and this is it. And hopefully you can see this in the camera. We keep saying it's so hard because what I'm looking at on my flip screen is not what I'm looking at in real life, so I can't tell what you're able to see and not until I actually edit it. But these leaves down here are very dark leaves. They're deep dark green, and if you ever saw one of these, that's a perfect specimen. They're a lot darker than this even. They're mostly all dark green with a little white variegation running through. This comes from too much light. I had it too close to the light. But the way I have the light, the place that I have this sitting and the way that I had the light on it, I didn't have any choice. In order to get the light down here, it had to be too close up here. So I am going to search today for a new way to display or a new place to put this plant where the soil, where this part down here gets a brighter light, excuse me, and so that we don't lose these bottom leaves, because that's what's happening. And this is true with a lot of plants, actually. If you don't get that light at the bottom end of the plant, at the soil level, you're not going to get that new growth coming out of there. They need that heat and that light close to the soil level. I found that out with my string of pearls. Now that plant, I've got two of them, and both of them are quite long. In fact, one of them it's almost as tall as me, and I'm 5'3"-ish, 5'4", and shrinking. And it didn't really take off like that until I got the light at the top of the soil level, shining down at the soil. And that's where your new growth comes up. So that's one important factor for this plant. The other is it doesn't like to get its leaves wet, so be careful when you water that you don't get water on the leaves, and you'll get something similar to this if you do. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to clean this up. I'm going to take the, I'm just going to cut the browning off of here. I'll probably remove this whole leaf maybe. I don't know. I don't like brown tips on my plants, and I'm not a perfectionist, my friends, but one of the reasons why I try to remove them as soon as I see them is if I don't, I can't tell if I'm getting new ones. So if I see brown tips, that tells me something's going on or something's wrong. And I don't have a good enough memory to remember, wow, did this have 4 brown tips or 3 brown tips? Is this a new one? Do I still have an issue going on here? Or is this from 2 months ago? So that's really my purpose for cutting those off. It's not because it has to be a perfect looking plant. No plant is perfect, nobody is perfect, and I'm not about that. But it does help me in caring for my plant. So that's the reason for that. Okay, and as I said, I do have a new shoot coming up here. Now, one of the things that I'm considering is repotting this into the same pot with new fresh soil, but I hate to do that only because whenever I repot a plant, it seems to go into shock. It sets it back for a couple of weeks. And because we're going into fall instead of spring, I think I'm not going to do that. I think I'm going to just wait and see what she does through this winter and hope for the best. Now, like I said, I am hoping that I get a new shoot under here, but I don't believe I will unless I cut something back here. But I don't know that for sure, and I won't know until I get that lighter closer to the soil, which is going to be what I'm going to do. That's my next goal. All right, now on the top, you can see she's got new leaves coming up through here. So she is still growing, and I know I read somewhere that these plants grow 1 to 2 feet tall. Well, she's already at 1 foot. So if I can get another foot out of her, I would be thrilled. And then, of course, I would need a new stake, which is going to be probably pretty soon. We've got about this far to go. And then I want to stake her to this so that she doesn't get top heavy. This plant also flowers, beautiful flowers. In fact, that's usually how they're sold around here. I've seen these sold in flower shops because they've got in the top. What happens is they'll send out these bracts. It's B-R-A-C-H-T-S, I believe it's spelled. And then those produce the flowers or turn into flowers. I don't know exactly, but you get 4 of them at a time, and then they get these bright, beautiful orange and yellow, and I don't know if they have red ones or not, but for sure orange and yellow I've seen, and very striking, very deep color, beautiful, beautiful flowers. Now, the way that, my understanding is the way that you get those flowers is you have to force the light. So you want to give it at 12 weeks of very bright light with no break. Now, does that mean 24 hours? No. That just means a good part of the day. All plants have to rest a little bit. Although I do believe that they do that with poinsettias at Christmas, if I'm not mistaken. I think that's how they force them to bloom, is keeping the light on all night. I think that's what I learned. But if you guys know, again, feel free to, put it on the comment section. Because I'm not an expert at that. Okay, so what else do you need to know? The soil, they like to be kept moist. She needs water right now. I'm digging down and she's barely moist down there. And even though I'm getting a little soil off, that's not enough. I've already let her go too far. And that could also be the reason for the browning on these leaves. The perfect soil mixture for her is like an African violet mix with a little perlite. And they like the rich but airy soil. And sometimes that's hard to accomplish both of those things in one pot, but that's how you would do it. And again, just a reminder, folks, I would stay away from the orchid bark. Once again, we haven't seen any fungus gnats since we stopped using that, and I will not be putting that in my plants anymore. So I know I've had a couple of people comment that, you know, they use orchid bark all the time and they don't have a problem. I'm happy for you, that's good. But I'm letting you know that my experience is I believe that was the main culprit of why we were dealing with those on such a high level. And since I got rid of it, no issues, no bugs. So, what else? I think that's about it for this one. I really don't have a whole lot more to say. She's rather unremarkable as far as care, but she is a little diva. She really, boy, if you don't catch that water just at the right time and you end up with this, you know, going on, that's, I don't know what to say. But I can't always get to every plant in time, unfortunately, so I have to deal with it. And so far this one down here is doing really good. She's got all her leaves almost all the way down to the soil. I see she needs to be tied up, I think, a little better, but other than that, I'm going to try and find a new home for her. I think I'm going to leave her soil untouched for now because it feels like it's exactly the kind of mixture it should be in. And I'm going to give her a good watering, and I'm going to find a place where the light reaches the bottom here, the bottom of the pot. I'm sorry, the top of the pot, but the bottom of the plant. And I think that's going to help a lot with this lower growth. That's about it. Humidity, she likes humidity, but once again, I don't have high humidity. Well, some people do consider my house high because it's about 50 to 60% right now. But I don't do anything to add humidity to my house unless it's really, really, really cold. We had 2 winters ago, we had a actual 40-some below zero temp, and our furnace never shut off, and it was so dry in here. I ended up, and then I just put boiling water on the stove for a couple hours, and I do it, you know, once a day or whatever, to add moisture to the house, because that dry air isn't good for anything. It's not good for you, it's not good for your plants, and it's not good for your furniture. Especially if you have real wood, it can really play havoc with your furniture. So, I think that's all I have to say about her, the beautiful zebra that my hubby just had to have. And I told him, I said, one of these days I'm going to put her in your lap and she's going to be your problem. And he just laughs at me, so what can I say? He knows I'm just kidding, so. Alright, well, I think that's all there is to say about her. I think we covered the soil, the light, the humidity, watering. That's about all there is to say about her. So give it a try. If you're feeling brave and you want a challenge, go ahead and get yourself a zebra. If you don't like fussy plants and you see one of these, run in the other direction. I'm just kidding. But they're fussy. So, all right. Well, I hope you all have a great day. Today is Wednesday. Some people call it hump day. So after today, there's only 2 days left, and then you got the weekend again. But thank you all for coming. Thank you very much, and thank you for those of you that comment consistently. I really appreciate you very much. I hope you'll all come back and see what we have for you next time. In the meantime, everybody stay safe and stay healthy. Okay? Bye now.